19, Andrew Schreiner. Number 20, Fabian Becerra.
We are live here at Martin Stadium. I'm Bria Losick alongside my broadcast partner for the evening, Margaret Fleming. It's a matchup between Northwestern and Loyola for men's soccer. Both teams from the area of Chicago should be a fun cross-town matchup of some sort.
Little crosstown
We're a
classic.
little bit outside of Chicago here, but it's still a great rivalry that they play every single year. But Margaret, so great to have you on the call with me here for WNUR Sports and also for Big Ten Plus tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Ria. Excited to be here. It's a beautiful, beautiful evening. Cannot state that enough. We love to bring up the weather on the broadcast. You can probably tell if you're watching on Big Ten Plus, but if you're just listening at home, oh my goodness, what 80 degrees, sun's going down, little breeze. We've endured a lot of colder and windier broadcasts here at Martin Stadium. So excited to be here for such a beautiful evening and get some soccer going, some crosstown classic soccer.
Well, the last time Northwestern was here at Martin Stadium, they faced Chicago State for their season opener. They tied that game 3-3. Northwestern is still looking for their first win of the season, let alone their first home win of the season, Margaret. They're here trying to do that against Loyola, but you know a little bit about these Ramblers. What did they do last time they were on the field?
Oh, goodness. Last time and the time before that, they've been on a roll so far this year. Won all their exhibition games, came out 2-0 on the season. Their last game, they beat number 25 ranked Bowling Green, held them scoreless, 1-0 game. And then they also, interestingly enough, broke their attendance record. So you can tell here there's a lot of maroon and gold coming up from Rogers Park to Evanston to support these Ramblers. They got a lot of support, a lot of excitement around this team right now. Their head coach is in his first year and he was with the team a few years ago and they won that Missouri Valley Conference Championship, but he's back. His fans are excited to see what he's going to do the rest of this year.
Yeah, the attendance was definitely a big factor in that win against the number 25 nationally ranked team last time the Ramblers played. Today at Martin Stadium, like you said, a huge section from their fan base that has traveled right to the right of our broadcast.
You might hear them a little bit throughout.
But overall, a lot of fans showing up here at Martin Stadium tonight, which is pretty impressive considering classes haven't even started for Northwestern students.
Right. I mean, most of the students who are here are probably just fellow athletes who are here to support, some of these soccer players. So good to see some turnout from the Northwestern and Evanston community, and we're excited to be here as well. This is our first WNUR broadcast on U.S. soil of the year. We were over in Ireland this past weekend covering the football win. So, if you're a fan of Northwestern, you're hoping they get it again. But they're definitely going to have a challenge going up against these Ramblers tonight.
Well, head coach Russell Payne is definitely up for that challenge. He's in his second year with Northwestern. Last season, he posted a 6-9-3 season in his inaugural campaign for the Wildcats. Went 3-5 in the Big Ten last year. Those might not seem like that impressive stats, but how the Wildcats finished just shows so much promise. In the Big Ten tournament, they first knocked out Maryland in the first round and then went on to only lose to Indiana 1-0 in overtime. At that time, Indiana was also ranked, I believe, 16th in the country. So a lot of promise for this Wildcat squad under Payne.
Absolutely, and this contest against Loyola is a good chance. They got a good series of non-conference games before getting into Big Ten play a little later this year. So, they're looking to turn that around. So far, like we said, winless for the year. So hoping to get that first one today and get some solid footing, get a few wins under their belt before they head into those conference games against those big Big Ten opponents, those talented Big Ten teams.
Well, we are almost ready to pump it up here at Martin Stadium. Kickoff coming shortly. Both teams have gathered on the field. Northwestern in all black today, and the Ramblers in all white. We'll get you those starting lineups for both squads. Starting off with the visitors. On the defensive line, you have Andrew Mitchell, Lucas Ender, Andrew Schweinert, Mark Torres, and Julian Cisneros. Then you move up to the midfield for the Ramblers. It's Billy Hensey, Brian Silver, And then they're also playing with 3 forwards tonight. Excuse me, 2 forwards in John Gates and also Fabian Becerra. And in goal will be Simon Gilson. Bardier Kimiavi is in the circle, about to kick off for the Cats. We'll get you who's all behind him in a second. In goal is Christian Gardner. He transferred from Boston College. So far on the season, 9 saves and 4 goals allowed for the grad transfer from Orleans, Massachusetts. And we are underway here at Martin Stadium. The Wildcats drop it back and passing it around for the first action here since August. Big cross up past midfield in the direction of Justin Weiss, but just cannot get there. Now the Ramblers passing around in the box. Gilson with a huge pass past the midfield line. Ball up in the air. And Claudette moves it to the center, but under control of the Ramblers. So Gilson kind of slowing down the tempo a little bit. Not one team really had possession there, but the Ramblers trying to change that.
Ramblers with another chance to set up exactly what they want here early in this match.
On the far side, big cross towards the center. And the Ramblers are setting up their offense. The back line led by Ethan Dudley almost stops the Ramblers, but a shot on goal to Gardner. Just a slight, almost a pass right directly to him. He has his first save of the match.
Gardner easily had that one, but the Ramblers were in a good position, can't lie, early in this game.
Now the Wildcats passing around on the back line. Moving to the far side up into the midfield. Short passes to Kimiavi, but stolen away by the Ramblers. And now cross into the middle by Loyola, but cleared out. The Rambler gets a head on it, but now cleared up to Northwestern's Weiss. Does a little heel click, but loses possession. And now the Ramblers have the ball once again in their half of the field. Crosses to the center, wide open on the left side. And it's dropped back. Ramblers continue to set up offense.
That could have been a dangerous cross, Bria.
Ramblers controlling the ball on the far side. Short passes, Northwestern players just kind of chasing around. But now Castro maintains possession on the far side. Northwestern with a throw-in. Headed around by Loyola, but Northwestern maintains possession. Now Prince on the back line passes to Claudette, who drops it back. Now they'll pass along their defensive line, pushed up almost towards midfield. Dudley in the center now with the ball. It's challenged by a Rambler, but quickly dishes it off onto the far side. Dudley back with the ball in the center, takes a couple dribbles up there and makes a cross to Claudette on the right side. Drops it back to Kimiavi. Kimiavi makes a move into the center, passes to Weiss, who taps it right back. Castro now with the ball on the far side. He's trying to get some movement from Sun. Sun crosses to the middle, but just over the goal. Couldn't quite straighten that one out. And now the Ramblers will have a goal kick.
Northwestern with a lot of patience on that drive there, took their time, worked it all the way around both sides of the field. Didn't end up in their favor, but not a bad first look for the Cats.
A quick pass to a Rambler defender from Gilson. Now quickly passed up past the midfield line, but now the Wildcats will have a throw-in on the far side. Sun takes the throw in. Right in the direction of Weiss, but cannot get possession of it. Now Mitchell passes it back to Gilson. Gilson almost gets the pass away from his defender. And now Wildcats maintain possession on the near side. Claudette takes a few dribbles, passes to Kimiave. Kimiave taps it around a defender, trying to make a move, and crosses it in. Now Sun on the far side. Couldn't quite get there in the box, trying to move it around, crosses it back in, but right into the hands of Gilson.
Miyavi had a nice move there on the right side. He just didn't have anybody with him. Like you said, nobody really in the box to finish it. So a couple good crosses, but Dustin just needs a little more inside presence.
Prince passes it back to Dudley. Now outside to Claudette, to Brown, back to Prince, who now passes it back to Garner and goal. Northwestern really playing around on that back line, now trying to advance up the field on the near side. Claudette taking a few dribbles, back to Kimiave, trying to use his speed. Claudette taps inside to Wise. Wise to Cascio. Cascio with the shot, but right in the middle to Gilson. So Northwestern has their first shot on goal.
Both teams getting shots on goal here early, but both have gone right into the keeper's hands. Excuse me. Haven't really done anything tricky yet.
Castro fighting for the ball on the far side. Little contact between both teams. Now Dudley passes it back to Gardner with a little pressure. Tries to pass it outside to Claudette. Claudette does narrowly get possession without it going out, but back to the Ramblers. Now a little bit past midfield. Ramblers threatening on their side. A ball deep into the box, but Gardner gets it handedly. We'll try to slow down the tempo a little bit right now. Rolls it out to Stevens. Northwestern once again passing it back along their defensive line. Prince now with the ball on the near side. Up to Claudette in the midfield. Passes inside to Wise. Wise takes a touch, but deflects off of some Ramblers. Now they've got it on their back line. Ball sent into the box with no Loyola players in sight, so it's Northwestern possession once again on their back line. Prince takes a few touches into the center to Dudley. Dudley with no challenge passes it outside. Stevens tries to get a pass up past the midfield, but deflected off of Rambler, so Northwestern throwing incoming.
Went right off of his stomach, just right out of bounds, hit him in the chest.
Sun once again taking the throw, and he's taken every throw in so far for Northwestern, all coming on that far side so far. Tapped out by Castro, so now Loyola ball.
Good play there by the Ramblers.
Castro now with possession, but quickly taken away by the Ramblers so far. Sun once again taking the throw, and he's taken every throw in so far for Northwestern, all coming on that far side so far. Tapped out by Castro, so now Castro now taps it to Sun in the midfield. Sun on the far side. He passes back to Dudley to set up an attack. Castro now taps it to Sun in the midfield. Sun on the far side. Cuts back, passes back to Sun. Little miscommunication there by Northwestern. Kimiavi just couldn't get to that ball. Thought it was going to go into a different place. And now Loyola has possession on their back line. Now pushing forward. Sun applying pressure on the far side to no avail. Loyola on the attack now. Prince clears it out to the opposite side and out of play, so a Loyola throw incoming now.
Strong defense there from Dudley for Northwestern to bump his offensive rambler there and get the ball out. Give Northwestern another chance to set up on defense.
Throw by Loyola. A few whistles there. The referee said that they were inching a little bit too much up the sideline, but finally gets the throw off. Kimiabi now in the center circle, passes back to Prince on the back line to Brown. Brown to Dudley. Back to Prince on the near side. Takes a few touches and back to the center to Dudley. Dudley crosses to the outside in the direction of Claudette, makes a touch right to the feet of a Rambler. Kimiabi now trying to get the ball back, but cleared out by Loyola. Back to Dudley. He heads it on the far side in the direction of Ron Brown. Northwestern, a ball now quickly thrown in by Claudette. And now Sun on the far side. Takes a few touches, trying to make a move around two Loyola defenders, but cannot. Now Loyola back on the attack. Cross inside to the box, but cleared away by Dudley. And now another ball into the box, but Northwestern keeps getting a touch on it. Now movement into the box on the far side. Deflected off of a Northwestern player, and Gardner quickly collects it. Margaret, he's looked so calm back there in the box so far.
Oh, absolutely. And credit to Dudley there for clearing out both of those first two attempts by the Ramblers. Great team defense there by Northwestern. Starting to get that Martin Stadium windy that we're used to.
You can definitely hear it and probably see it. Prince on the back line. Passes to Brown in the center. Northwestern switches fields now to Stevens. Stevens takes a few dribbles, uncontested, back to Dudley. Dudley, a Big Ten preseason player to watch. A lot of leadership from him on that back line. Brown slides to get the ball off to Prince, right past Loyola forward. Dudley now takes a few dribbles on the far side. Back to Prince. He'll switch fields right back to Stevens on the far side. Makes a big cross right on the edge of the box in the direction of Wise, but three Ramblers on him. And now Loyola beckoning with two attackers, but stolen away by Prince. Prince goes outside to Sun. Castro gets a touch on it, but deflected off of a Rambler, so Northwestern throw incoming.
Huge stop there by Prince. Loyola just taking possession, had all the momentum in the world, so big of him to stop right there.
Now another throw coming for Northwestern. Brown in the center, just past midfield. Tries to pass out to Claudette, but a little bit too weak. And now Northwestern on the back line once again. Dudley takes a few dribbles past midfield. Dishes it off to Prince. Prince to Claudette. Kimiabi trying to make a run. Claudette trying to choose whether or not he'll take it, and into the box, right into the hands of Gilson. So another shot on goal for Northwestern.
Yeah, his teammate was right there. He had Weiss ready to maybe tap it in, but just a little slow on that ball, went right into the keeper's hands.
Now Ramblers Passing it around. Silver with the ball now. Passes back to Mitchell. Mitchell back to Jilson. Taps it right back to him. Mitchell challenged by Weiss, so Mitchell tries to dump it up to midfield, but Northwestern takes it away. That's Prince passing it all the way back to Gardner, who's out of the box now. Flips it to Brown, who gets a head on it. Now Northwestern trying to set up some sort of offense. Haven't really seen much from them today. Score still 0-0 here at Martin Stadium between Northwestern and Loyola. About 15 minutes in. Both teams have only one shot on goal so far, so these defensive lines for both teams have really been the story of the game so far.
Absolutely, Bria. Could not agree more. Both keepers seem very calm, cool, and collected, like you said, but the defenders are making it really hard to get some solid shots off. Everything that these offensive players have put in so far are going right to the keepers.
Loyola throw in and tapped around before finally forcing a goal kick, so Garner will take that. Not in too much of a hurry, looking to set up his offense. Like we said, a lot of leadership there in the box from Gardner. He's a Boston College transfer. He started both games this season against Chicago State and Florida Gulf Coast. The Wildcats tied in their first contest versus Chicago State 3-3, and then went on to get shut out against Florida Gulf Coast 1-0. But Gardner has been back in the box for all 180 minutes played this season. Claudette with the throw-in on the near side into the direction of Weiss. Loyola defender giving him a nice hug there. Couldn't really do much about that, but it's another Northwestern throw-in. It's Claudette again. Long, lofty throw in the direction of Weiss again. Castro gets a foot on it, but taken away by Loyola. Castro now, a couple dribbles. Tries to make a move, but taken away by Torres. Now Loyola threatening in the center. Makes a nice pass onto the far side. Sun and Tran challenging those Ramblers.
A little trip there, a little contact, yeah.
Now a little contact called on Loyola, so Northwestern gets a little bit of a free pass there, and Dudley will take the kick, drops it back to Gardner. Back to Dudley. Stevens now with the ball on the far side. It's a huge pass up on the far side to Weiss. Weiss gets a touch on it, cuts to the center. Weiss now in the box, loses it, and then trips two Ramblers, probably accidentally, but only gets called for the second one.
A bunch of guys falling all over the place. You weren't really sure who had possession for a little bit there, but the Ramblers come up with it after Northwestern had a glimpse of an attack there.
Jilson takes the kick, and now the Ramblers maintaining possession on the far side. Northwestern now fighting for it. I believe that's Paul Sun in there. Now Tran makes a move, spins around and dishes the ball up to Kimiave. Kimiave dribbling up the center. He's got Castro on the right side and Weiss on the left. Passes it to Weiss, but called for offsides. So probably the most holistic attack that we've seen from Northwestern so far, but Weiss just getting offsides there a little bit.
Absolutely. It wasn't a bad shot that was called, after the whistle. The shot wasn't bad, went right to Jilson, but yeah, Northwestern losing the opportunity there after a couple close looks.
Both teams pushing up almost past the midfield. Jilson sends it across the line. Claudette gets a head on it. Castro taps it back to Prince. Prince gets a nice touch back to Brown in the center. Brown out to Stevens. Stevens up to Sun. Sun gets past two defenders, dribbling up the far side. Still with the ball, tries to cut back, but taken away by Loyola. So maybe a few one too many touches there by Northwestern. Now Loyola on the attack. It's the ball inside the box. A nice cross, but headed away by Prince up to Claudette in the center. He's taking no chances. Clears it away to Kimiavi. But Loyola now with the ball at the midfield line.
Talk about defense being the story of this game so far. Once again, Prince getting that ball out there, stopping what looked to be surely a solid Rambler attack.
Both teams held scoreless with 20 minutes into the contest. But the Ramblers are definitely threatening down the center. Passed out to Silver. Silver tries to do a quick pass inside, but cleared away by Northwestern. Now Castro gets a touch, challenged by two Ramblers, now on the far side. Takes one dribble outside, and now a Loyola throw-in.
And the ball flew straight over the heads of some of the spectators into the bottom of the press box. That was that loud thud you heard, but Ramblers end up getting the ball.
And number 9, Oscar Hueso.
Silver with the throw-in right at the midfield line for the Ramblers. It's a quick throw to Gates. Tapped out once again. Silver will take it to Gates again. Takes a quick touch, drops it back to Silver. Silver switching fields with a long cross. And taken away by Stevens, but passed right back to Loyola. Now Loyola on their back line, challenged by Weiss. Gilson now way outside of the box. Ron Brown called for a little bit of contact there, challenging. And so Loyola will have a free kick. Now passed out on the far side. Big collision there between Stevens and a Rambler.
I'm not sure if there was any foul play there. It looked like they might have just kind of run into each other.
It seemed pretty equal. So Loyola throw in as a result, and now a shot on goal to Gardner once again. But once again, very calm back there, collects it, and it is looking to set up that Northwestern offense.
It was a shot. It wasn't too much of a firecracker, though. It wasn't one of the stronger shots on goal we've seen from Loyola so far tonight.
Northwestern once again trying to get the ball up to Weiss with no avail. That seems to be their strategy tonight on offense, is kind of maintain possession on the back line and then cross it up to Weiss and hope he gets a foot on it and makes the move and goes into the box. But so far, that back line for Loyola has really controlled that strategy.
That's a tough position to put Weiss in as well, to try to kind of face that all on his own. But when Northwestern has gotten enough players down there, their attack doesn't look awful. It looks pretty good, but they just, had that problem with the offside call. Just a couple other things that have made it a little more difficult to get the ball into the net.
Now Castro fighting for the ball. Now on the back line for the Ramblers. Silver in the middle, passes it out on the far side. Just dribbles past midfield. Ramblers playing with it around that midfield line, advances further up the field, stolen away by Kimiabe. Dishes off to Claudette. Now Prince on the back line and passes back to Gardner. And a call on Brown. So Loyola will have a nice position for a penalty kick right in the center of the field, probably in their quarter of the field. Brown contesting Loyola's Blair there.
And if you're the Ramblers right now, I mean, this is exactly who you want trying to take this kick right now. Billy Hensey has the ball all alone, got a lot of space around him. He's got 2 goals so far just this season, just in the 2 games that they've played.
Hensey not only scoring those 2 goals in 2 contests, but also a captain for the Ramblers. He sends it into the middle, but right into the hands of Garner. He gets knocked around a little bit there by a Rambler, but seems to have been accidental contact, so play will resume. Passed out to Prince. Prince back to Dudley. Dudley to Stevens, back to Dudley in the center. Taps it to Garner. Now Castro in the center midfield. Passes it back to Brown. Outside now to Sun, takes a few touches, cuts inside. Passes to Kimiavi in the center. Kimiavi to Claudette. Runs an overlap. Claudette will give it to him. Back to Claudette in the corner of the box. Drop back to Kimiavi. Kimiavi and Claudette continue to work together. Claudette with the ball now. Passes to Kimiavi once again. Tries to get it to Claudette, but intercepted by that stealthy defensive line for the Ramblers. Finally figured out that combination between Claudette and Kimiavi. Now on the near side, Dudley passes it back to Garner in the box. Garner with no pressure. He'll take a few touches and dish it off to Brown. Brown in the center now. Brown to Tran. Tran switches fields. Tries to get a ball up to Claudette. Tap back from Silver to Gilson, who clears it out into the stands right in front of us. So a throw for Northwestern taken by Prince. Prince throws it back to Dudley. Dudley to Stevens with a quick touch back to Gardner in the box. Garner to Dudley, back to Garner. Garner with a little squib kick to the near side, trying to get it to Claudette, but the wind kind of took it there, so Loyola throw in by Silver. Torres now with the ball. And now the Ramblers threatening on that far side. Give a little quick give and go inside the box. And a shot on goal, but saved by Garner. Now the Ramblers with another chance. Ball up in the air. Kimiavi gets a quick touch to Tran. Loyola now with the ball at the midfield. That was definitely a close call for Northwestern, Margaret.
Oh, absolutely. Great save, first of all, and then a great clear as well from the Northwestern defense. That was a nice team. Nice job by the entire team to stop that one.
Becerra back to Torres. Torres clicks it behind him and tries to pass up to his forward, but intercepted by Kimiavi. Kimiavi on the near side. Challenged by Torres. And a penalty called on Torres. Ron Brown now going to take that kick. Looking for a teammate. Elects to switch fields to Dudley in the center. Dudley passes back to Prince on the near side. Loyola intercepts it on the far side, right near midfield. Passes back to their defensive line. And now their offense setting up once again, a little give and go into the box and a shot, but a nice save there by Gardner. He has been electric so far in the box tonight.
What a save. Oh my goodness. It looked for a second there. He might have bobbled it or might have got past his hands, but he got control of that ball. Just the one-handed save all the way on the ground. Really athletic play.
That's Gardner's third save tonight. Fourth, excuse me. That's 5 shots for the Ramblers so far. They've definitely threatened a lot more than Northwestern's offense. Used a lot more passing sequences, a lot of give and goes up in the center, unlike Northwestern trying to get it up to Wise and hoping he makes the move. But
Well, Northwestern had a little bit going on there for a second when they had Kimiavi and Claggett up there, but they were just kind of going back and forth. I don't know if you've seen that scene from Semi-Pro where they just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was only a matter of time until the defense came in.
cleared out by Prince on the near side. Now a Rambler throw-in. But the first substitutes of the game coming in for both teams.
Ramblers substitution. Number 11, Jason Ibarra.
A little substitution earlier. I think it was for the Ramblers earlier. They had someone new coming in, but some subs for both teams now. About just over 30 minutes into this, into this contest. Sun's going down a little bit. Gotta switch some guys out, keep their legs fresh.
Eric Smits comes into the midfield for Northwestern. Mitchell passes to Ender. Now Loyola controlling it on the far side, almost intercepted by Northwestern. Now the Wildcats get it back on their back line. A risky pass to Garner back in the box, challenged by Rambler, but he gets it off. Now Prince on the near side, takes a touch to keep it in. Prince playing around with it in the box, no challenge. Quick dish to Brown, who gives it right back to him. Now Dudley in the center. Prince takes a few dribbles, back to Brown. And now Stevens on the far side with a pass up to Smits, but cleared away by the Ramblers. Dudley just clears the ball out of bounds with a nice diving header.
Yeah, interesting move there. It looked like he was putting his body on the line for that ball, but it just went straight out of bounds.
Now a Rambler throw on the far side, right near midfield. That looks like Colin McCamey coming in for the Wildcats. He's on the back line now on the far side. And now Northwestern on the offensive attack. That's Von Deventer.
There's a little contact there. He got tripped, it looked like. He had the ball, but a lot of Ramblers around him going pretty fast, and then, the Ramblers tripped him up there, and Northwestern will get possession of the ball.
Colin McCamey taking the kick on the far side. And a yellow card was given to Hensey. So that's the first yellow card of the game that we've seen.
Yeah, going to the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year for both 2020, 2021, and 2021, both that fall and spring season.
The whistle blows and McCamey with a short pass to Brown. McCamey now on the left side, dribbles past 2 defenders, but taken away by Loyola. And now a throw-in for the Ramblers on the far side. Both teams getting a little bit more aggressive now that the game's still scoreless past the 30th minute. See a little bit more shoving going on. A few more calls.
Well, absolutely. And the Ramblers did have a great opportunity there earlier. It's kind of just like the Rambler offense versus the Northwestern defense is sort of the story of this game so far.
Torres inside, deflected by Northwestern, but both teams kind of arguing with the referee of what the call should be. But it looks like they will give it to the Ramblers. So Torres passes it to the far side. Now back to the middle for the Ramblers. Inside at the top of the box to Mitchell. Silver on the near side takes a few dribbles and passes it outside back to Silver. Silver with a quick pass into the box, but intercepted by the Northwestern back line. Kimiave tries to get a touch on it, but right back to Silver. Silver to Torres. Smits taps it to Kimiave. A lot of traffic here on the near side for both teams. Couple dribbles around for Loyola into the box, and Claudette gets a touch on it. Now maintaining possession on that near side. Kimiave taps it against Loyola defender, and now Northwestern will get a throw in.
Great read by Prince to see exactly where the Ramblers passed to where the player wasn't at yet, and Prince just followed him, was able to stop that shot, just block with his body. Fantastic, anticipation, anticipating when the pass was going to go.
Claudette now on the near side with the throw in for Northwestern, trying to communicate with his teammates, trying to get someone open. Is asked by the referee to push back a little bit. Claudette throws in, and the touch gets in there by Kimiave. Kimiave to Smits. Now McCamey on the left side. McCamey on the edge of the box, crosses it in, deflected by Loyola. Now Claudette comes in, shoots, and over the top. So a nice opportunity there for Northwestern. Claudette gets a shot just above the crossbar. But you love to see the aggressiveness by Northwestern in that sequence.
Absolutely. Both on the far side and from the middle, Northwestern had a chance. That ball was just a little too high, but he had a second. That's definitely Northwestern's best drive so far. But the theme for Northwestern's offense so far has definitely been a little more rushed than the Ramblers, who are taking their time on their offensive end.
Ramblers with a substitution. That's Michael Hong, number 3, coming in. Now Northwestern controlling on the back line, passes to McCamey. McCamey comes in with a lot of speed. Now pass back to Gardner in the box. He's challenged. Gives a pass, but intercepted by Silver. Now deflected out of the bounds, and that is Northwestern ball. Claudette pushing the tempo a little bit. Up to Thagard. Brown to Claudette to Thagard. Gets a little pushed around there by Ybarra. So Northwestern will get a free opportunity on the near side. Brown passes it back towards midfield. Now out to McCamey on the far side. Drops it to Stevens. Stevens switches fields to Prince. Takes a few dribbles. Passes up to Claudette. Claudette now challenging 2 Ramblers deep into the corner and passes it back to Prince.
The wind just took the ball exactly where Prince did not want it to go.
McCamey gets a touch to stop the Loyola attack, but just out of bounds. So a throw-in incoming for the Ramblers. Smith playing around with it on the far side. Accidentally taps it out of bounds. Just a little miscommunication there between Smith and Stevens. Another throw now for the Ramblers on the far side.
Just moving up a hair from where they were before. Northwestern almost got possession there, coming right in, and they knocked it right back again. So 3rd throw in for the Ramblers in a row.
Dudley gets a touch on the ball, followed by Prince. Northwestern trying to clear it out. and a lot of contact
Hit him with the body.
on that last play by Stevens. So now the Ramblers with a free opportunity. Looks like they're kind of trying to pick the brain of the referee, wondering why there wasn't a card on that play.
Yeah, I thought there was just as much contact on that one as the one we saw earlier down on the other end of the field, but no card for Northwestern.
A free kick for the Ramblers now. Northwestern sets up a two-man wall.
This kick is very far out, though. Worth noting.
It's outside of the box on the far side. A lot of cheers incoming from that Loyola section right next to us that we mentioned earlier. They traveled very well.
Not very far.
Very well, but not very far. We're inching onto the 40th minute here. Still scoreless, but now the Ramblers with an opportunity here with the free kick. Passed inside to the box, but cleared out by Northwestern and sent right back in, but to the left of the goal.
That one had to have hurt his head. That was a strong kick. Came right at it. Bounced off so fast. But great defensive play yet again by Northwestern.
Garner to Prince. Prince to Claudette. Claudette passes inside to Ron Brown with quick touch to Kimiavi. Kimiavi back to Von Devente. Touched outside to McCamey, who passes the midfield line. Now Northwestern passing it along their back line, now on the near side with Prince. Prince back to Dudley in the center. Dudley right at center field. Dish it sit off to Prince once again. He takes a few dribbles, tries to get it to Claudette, but intercepted by Silver. Silver now switching fields to the far side. A strong cross inside the box and bounces right out with the wind, forcing a Northwestern goal kick.
I feel like we mentioned the wind several times already, but it cannot be understated. I feel like on these long, high rainbow kicks, basically, the really high ones, the wind is having a big effect and taking it in a completely different direction than the players are intending.
Under 4 minutes remaining in this first half. Still scoreless between Northwestern and Loyola here in Evanston at Martin Stadium. Northwestern still looking for their first win of the season, hoping to get it at home in front of a very sizable crowd.
These stands are pretty much packed for a game before this Northwestern school year even starts. Lots of fans here tonight. Friday night game. Friday night lights.
Friday night lights here at Martin Stadium. A large part of that packed crowd, like we said, a lot of Ramblers here in attendance. It's free admission here at Martin Stadium, and a ball right into the box and into the hands of Jilson. He hasn't really been challenged that much so far in this first half.
Jilson, the local kid from Lane Tech. Local for both teams, really. Lane Tech and Chicago.
Silver with the ball on the near side. Headed and cleared away by Dudley into center field. Now Ender to Silver. Challenged by Claudette. Silver gets past Claudette. Still challenged by him. And a nice slide tackle there by Prince to get the ball. Makes a few moves trying to get past 3 Loyola players. Slide tackle once again by Ron Brown. A little jersey tug there by Loyola players, but Northwestern maintains possession and will play on. Dudley in the center, out to McCamey on the far side. Takes a very big touch, but is deflected off of Loyola.
The tenacity of those Northwestern defenders, putting those multiple slide tackles in a row, facing more Ramblers than they had Wildcats, but just kept pushing, and finally got the ball.
Here in the 43rd minute at Martin Stadium, Northwestern trying to get an attack in place with McCamey on the far side, but the ball goes out of bounds and Loyola will throw it in. Ball now the edge of the box for Loyola, cleared away by Prince. Doesn't even try to find a teammate, just clears it right out of bounds.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
And with almost just a little over a minute left in this first half, expect Northwestern to just kind of try to preserve this tie and not do anything crazy. Now Loyola threatening in the box, across inside, but cleared away by Claudette. Ball in the air, passed around, headed by Brown. Kimiavi takes a touch inside, passes out to McCamey. McCamey makes a move and makes the defender miss, passes it up to Smits. Smits tries to go inside to Kimiavi, but intercepted by Torres. Now Claudette with the ball to Brown. Brown to Von Devente in the center, out to McCamey. McCamey with a large pass inside to Thagard, but deflected away. Now the ball up in the air on the far side, headed by Smits in the direction of Thagard, but once again intercepted by Loyola. 10 seconds left in this first half. Loyola threatening on the far side.
4, 3, 2,
And Northwestern's
0.
will clear it out to end the first half. So it is a scoreless tie here at Martin Stadium with 45 minutes of play. Northwestern versus Loyola. Northwestern still looking for that first win of the season. They've got 45 more minutes to do it, maybe a little bit more. But a solid first half by the defenses for both teams, Margaret.
Oh, absolutely. I'm extremely impressed by Northwestern's defense so far. I thought Prince had several incredible saves and just able to just stops, too, to prevent even getting the Ramblers from getting a shot off. And then obviously have to, tip the cap a little bit to Gardner coming in and having that, that a couple really impressive saves, but that one diving one with the one hand has to be probably my play of the game so far, considering that we're scoreless. There aren't any goals to have plays of the game so far, so I'm going to give it to the save. That's pretty impressive. So again, Northwestern trying to get their first win. The Ramblers trying to avoid their first loss. This will be an exciting second half, undoubtedly.
We will get that second half to you in about 15 minutes. We're going to take a quick break here on WNUR Sports and Big Ten Plus. Thank you so much for sticking with us in this first half. Both teams looking to break that scoreless tie when we come back. This is WNUR Sports. And we're back at Martin Stadium for the last 45 minutes of this contest between Loyola and Northwestern. It was scoreless at the half. Neither team could break through for the lead. So looking for another close half between both teams. Kickoff for the Ramblers is about to happen in just a second. Northwestern huddling now in their half of the field.
The Ramblers had a much more put together offensive attack, I would say. We got our stat sheets. The Ramblers had 6 shots to Northwestern's 2 in that first half. Now, even with the fouls, Ramblers had 6, Northwestern with 5. But really the star of this game so far for the Wildcats, Christian Gardner, 4 saves in goal. See if we can keep it up here in this second half.
Yeah, the Boston College transfer is really showing why he has played every single minute of Northwestern's 2022 season. And now play has started in the second half for the Ramblers and Wildcats. A throw in on the near side for the Ramblers. Cisneros gets it in to Dueso. Tapped right back out, so another Rambler throw in, this time inching a little bit further up the sideline. Cisneros into his teammate, who's challenged by 3 Northwestern players, cleared out by Ron Brown, but right back to the feet of Blair for Loyola. Now Silver on the back line for the Ramblers, passes it up to his midfield, but dropped right back to Silver. Now Northwestern intercepts the pass and maintains possession for the first time this half. Pass back to Garner, who sends it up on the far side. Ball up in the air. Kimiabe gets a quick touch on it, taps it to Smits. Smits didn't earn the start today, but starts off the second half for Northwestern. Justin Wise up at forward, creeping into the box. A shot that bounces right off of the crossbar. Now Kimiabe trying to keep it in bounds. And a little bit of contact between Kimiabe and a Rambler right in the off of the cross. Smits didn't earn the start today, but starts off the second half for Northwestern. Justin Wise up at forward, creeping into the box. A shot that bounces right off of the crossbar. Now Kimiabe trying to keep it in bounds. Goes back into the midfield. Now a Rambler throw in the corner. Whistle's blown and Cisneros is directed to take a few steps back. We've seen that a lot so far. Players trying to kind of cheat up the sideline a few steps to get their team in better position. Now McCamey trying to control it, but deflected right into the crowd, right in front of us, to some Rambler fans.
Northwestern really far pushed up right now. Now they have a couple more guys back, but during that last sequence there, every Northwestern player, except for Garner, was on the Rambler side of the half.
Stevens sends it up past the midfield. A bunch of Ramblers get the head on it. Sent up to Gates on the near side, but tapped out of bounds. So McCamey now with the throw-in for Northwestern. McCamey searching for some teammates. Throws to Weiss. Weiss with too strong of a touch to Blair of Loyola. Now Northwestern back with possession. Brown in the center switches fields to Clauguette on the far side. Clauguette controls it, takes a few touches, and 1-2 strong. Gets it taken away by a Loyola defender who sends it right back up. Gardner now out of the box and clears it to the midfield. Blair heads it. Ball still up in the air. Ron Brown tries to get a head on it, but cannot.
Risky move by Garner to come all the way up out of the box like that. Just nearly ran into the Loyola forward.
But it just shows you how comfortable he is back there to make those calls. Just really playing like the veteran he is. Now a lot of movement in the center of the field for the Wildcats. Smits taps it out to Stevens on the back line, up to McCamey, who flips it to Kimiabi. Kimiabi takes a few dribbles, cuts inside to Smits. Smits with 2 Ramblers on him now and gets the ball taken away by Blair. A little bit too much contact there from Smits after he got it taken away, so now Ramblers get a free opportunity and start passing around in their half.
There was some good passing there by Northwestern. A lot of their offensive attack has been rushed so far. That was pretty measured for what we've seen so far this evening.
Kimiabi on the near side, takes a few touches, taps it back to McCamey. McCamey with the 1 touch to Stevens. Stevens to Dudley in center. Dudley rolls it to Prince. Prince sends it to Claudette, takes a touch, deflects it off of a Rambler. And now a deep throw to Justin Weiss at the top of the box. Now in the far corner, makes a cut inside and shot right over the goal for Justin Weiss. One of the first attempts so far in this half for Northwestern.
Just real high above the goal. He had a couple players in the middle if he would have chosen to go for the cross instead. He had the look. It was just his shot was pretty far off to, the happiness of some Rambler fans.
Well, Northwestern definitely leans on Weiss as the only forward in this formation for the Wildcats. And they do put a lot of trust in him. 1 goal, 1 assist so far this season. He was a first-team All-Big Ten selection last year and was put on that preseason player to watch list for this season. So expecting big things out of Weiss. Just hasn't really gotten one in the goal yet so far. Neither team has, but Weiss with a few opportunities that have just gone over. Now Dudley on the back line for Northwestern takes a touch inside, passes up to Claudette. Claudette challenged behind him, but takes a few more touches before getting taken away. Claudette still challenging, and a call on Northwestern now. And the referee will call Kimiabi over. Not the first time that he's been talked to even in this half. We're only about 6 minutes in so far to the second half, and both teams are getting a little bit more aggressive. That's something we saw in the last part of the first half as the score remains tied at 0. Claudette now with the ball on the far side, passes to Dudley. Dudley to the center to Von Devente. Some quick touches by the Wildcats. Stevens now on the back line with it. Passes to Dudley, back to Stevens. Stevens switches fields to Prince. Still Northwestern really passing around on that defensive line. They trust those 4 guys back there for sure.
Oh, absolutely. They've been relying on them all evening, and they've proven why.
Now Loyola attacking on the far side. Quick touches, but Von Devente challenging. Now the ball in the corner of the box, deflected by Northwestern. Loyola tries to tap it inside the box with no avail, so cleared out to the midfield, but back in possession of the Ramblers. Cisneros passes back to Ender. Ender now giving it to Gilson, the goalkeeper, right at the top of the box, playing very far out. But when you only have 1 forward in Weiss for Northwestern, you can kind of afford to play that high up if you're Gilson. Probably not getting a lot of pressure there as he's just kind of running around from side to side. Now the Ramblers on the far side, threatening. Ball inside the box, a little spin move there. But a call in favor of the Ramblers. We'll see where that free kick will be taken. And it's right on that far sideline, quite a bit of ways from the box, closer to that quarter line. 2 Ramblers setting up the free opportunity. It'll be an indirect kick. The box is loaded up and it's sent in, but headed away by Smits. Now Wise trying to get past the Ramblers, but sent back up to their offense. Claudette with a slide tackle on the far side. Now Northwestern will take a goal kick.
Great defense there by Northwestern just to continue to put away those Ramblers. But eventually they do get possession here. Nice slide tackle there over there by Claudette. Finally got it out of bounds, but or out of play. But it looked like for a while there, the Ramblers were just having opportunity after opportunity. Northwestern has had solid defense, but hadn't had the chance to clear it out yet so far. So looking to do that here.
Substitution was made for the Wildcats. Smits goes out. Castro comes back in. He was the starter in the midfield. Garner and Dudley both inside of the box.
Having a little conversation there. Chatting it out.
Play has been stopped for quite some time. Well, players kind of staying fresh, doing some high knees. Don't really know why play has been stopped.
Clock is stopped. Taking time there, the officials are deliberating over there at center field. Perhaps about the time. I don't exactly know, but in the meantime, we can talk about what we've seen so far this half. I think that the Ramblers have continued the offensive momentum that they had coming in from the first half, but I've been excited to see again the Northwestern defense, but just how they play as a team is really what stands out to me. Is that one guy's going down, another guy's going down with them, just doing whatever they can to stop the Ramblers' attack. I think if Northwestern wants to see success, though, they're definitely going to have to push a little bit more offensively, be a little more measured, and maybe a little less measured because they've been taking a lot of time passing around the perimeter, but they need to just advance it forward a little more on their next offensive drive. It hasn't really been even 8 minutes so far in this half, but I think Northwestern has a lot of room to grow trying to push it offensively.
And it's so interesting because it's still only the third game of the season, so, Coach Payne may be tossing around some different lineup combinations, players maybe still establishing that chemistry, trying to figure out, some sequences on offense. But like you said, Margaret, really haven't seen much from Northwestern's offense except maybe a few too many touches, kind of passing around a little bit too much in the midfield, not really having too many opportunities inside of the box. The referees are still looking at something at the midfield, but the head referee will head back onto the field.
Still a beautiful evening here. The sun's fully set, no longer golden hour, but it's still a really nice evening here at Martin. Looks like the wind died down a little bit, but always got to comment when it's beautiful weather here because this is one of the coolest stadiums to play at for sure.
Looks like they changed the clock. That might have been what they were deliberating on. Now it's at 53 minutes.
Added about 15 seconds.
Yeah, they added about 15 seconds there. So now we're in the 53rd minute of this contest. Cisneros throws it in. Now tapped to Hensey. Hensey with a shot, but deflected by Dudley inside the box. Ron Brown in the middle, passes to Claudette, tries to get it, pass it up to his teammate, and deflects it off of a Rambler. So Northwestern throw.
Nice stop by Dudley. Again, the Northwestern team defense. We've seen great play so far from Garner, but a lot of the time the ball doesn't even have to get to Garner. His teammates have got him. Been pretty successful so far.
Now Ron Brown slide tackles into Gates. Gates rolling around on the ground, holding his knee. Yellow card is awarded to Brown. Gates gets up and shakes it off, but
It's a little hard to tell with soccer sometimes how severe these injuries really are.
you never really know. But what we do know is Loyola will have yet another penalty kick here right at the quarter line. Both teams kind of crowding around at the top of the box, a little to the right.
Second yellow card given of the game. First one given to Billy Hensey, Ramblers captain and one of their stars.
Garner standing strong in goal, awaiting the free kick. Ball is sent in low. Bounced around inside the box, but cleared away by Stevens. Right up to Weiss. Takes a bounce and an errant touch by Silver. Let's see if Weiss can capitalize on the near side. Takes a touch inside, but taken away by a Loyola defender and tapped right out of bounds by McCamey. Weiss kind of gives himself a little clap.
What are you gonna
To
do about that?
himself.
Yeah.
Kind of wishes he could have that one back.
And that one-on-one coverage, it's gonna go either way. It didn't go his way that time, but hoping to try again.
Now Garner sends it to Claudette on the far side, up to Kimiavi. Kimiavi takes a few touches, passes back to Brown. Brown to Prince, back to Brown once again. Sends it to the opposite field to Stevens. Stevens with no one on him, sends it to McCamey. McCamey takes a touch inside, tries to pass it to Castro, but intercepted by Blair. McCamey now gets the ball back, but once again, Blair battling for it now against Von Devente. Von Devente has his jersey tugged a little bit there by Blair. So Northwestern will slow down play and have a free kick.
Nearly in their own box and completely on the other side away from the goal, but still, Northwestern with a chance to do something here. You can see Garner in the goal there telling his teammates, just slow down, we got it.
Approaching the 55th minute of this contest, still 0-0 between the Ramblers and the Wildcats. Both teams have had a few opportunities, but none that really stand out. It's been kind of
Loyola
play.
had that one real close one. They had a nice opportunity, and I mean Northwestern, when they hit the top of the crossbar on that, or hit the crossbar with that one shot, but neither of those resulted in a goal for either team. Both teams really wanting this win, looking to establish some dominance here in their Crosstown Classic. Northwestern fell last season, won the season before, I believe. Loyola not looking to get their first loss. Northwestern looking to get their first win, their first home win. A lot's riding on this game for both teams, just to settle down and establish early in this season what their team's going to look like. For Loyola, they don't want to go have a huge win over a ranked opponent, and then come in lose to Northwestern, as both teams are headed to their own sidelines right now as the officials discuss at midfield. But Loyola looking to come in, continue to capitalize off of that momentum they have from that big, both in the size of the crowd and what it means for their team, win over Bowling Green. But also Northwestern is not looking to continue, off starting the season 0-3 when they know that Big Ten play is also going to be, 0-2, and they know that that Big Ten play is going to ramp up even more.
Like you said, Margaret, another big break in the action. The second one of this half. officials looking at something at the midfield.
The clock just changed again by about a minute. They added another minute. So I
Big
wonder
stark
what's up.
difference there.
Yeah.
A whole minute added this time. 15 seconds was only added last time, but both teams now heading back out. Something interesting I just noticed in the approaching the 56th minute of this contest, neither team has taken a corner kick yet.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Crazy.
It's very interesting.
Crazy how that happens.
But I think that just shows how dominant the defensive
Yes.
component for both teams has
Yes.
been. There haven't been too many opportunities inside the box for those
Right.
corner kicks to be drawn. So Northwestern still looking to create something on offense. We saw an opportunity there by Justin Weiss off of a huge clear outside of the box from a Loyola opportunity, but Weiss just couldn't capitalize. Now Dudley sends it across the field to Claudette. Claudette getting his jersey tugged a little bit, but gets the pass off to Kimiabi. Little give and go action on the far side. Takes a touch inside as Claudette. Challenged by two defenders. The ball is taken away from Claudette.
He was upset about that one.
Much to the dismay of Claudette and the Northwestern sideline. Definitely saw a little bit of contact there on Claudette, but play resumes, no call. Loyola now with a lot of short passes, but Northwestern finally intercepts one. And now Northwestern throwing on the far side, right by that quarter line.
And a little whistle there, Northwestern bringing in some subs. So are the Ramblers, but Northwestern was looking to push there. I don't even think they wanted to bring in those subs, to be quite honest. You could see the coach, everyone on the bench, and the players on the field were trying to rush and get that throw in real quickly. But, you know, the official said, hold on, hold on. We're going to bring these guys in.
So 2 substitutions for the Wildcats. Now Weiss challenging the Ramblers back line. But Cisneros sends it up to his offense. Intercepted by the Wildcats. McCamey takes a touch to Von Devente. Out to Tran, who just came into the game for the first time this half. Prince tries to send it up to his offense, but deflected off of Loyola. Northwestern throw it. Ron Brown was just taken out, and Paul Sun comes in his place. Brown was just awarded a yellow card a couple minutes prior, so don't really want him to get that second one. Stevens with a huge clear. And a yellow card called for Loyola. That's Fabian Becerra. He just came into the game about 30 seconds ago. What a way to enter, much to the dismay of this huge Loyola crowd here. A lot of boos can be heard, but...
So you can tell me, Bria, it looked like Northwestern Stevens was just going to clear the ball. It cleared the ball, but it looked like Becerra just kind of got his body in the way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Was there really any contact?
Just kind of threw his body towards him. You could say he was going for the ball. I think that's what, Rambler fans are saying.
Right. To me, not to agree with. not that we're on the Northwestern side necessarily, but not to agree with any fans on either side. But I don't know if there was that much contact, but the official definitely saw it.
Prince now trying to box out Loyola forward.
Oh, it's called for persistent infringement. Okay. Not necessarily hitting another player.
Stevens with the ball on the near side now. Passes into the center. A couple quick touches for Northwestern on the far side. Claudette gets the ball taken away from him, and now a Loyola throw-in. Ball pushed up on the far side, taken away by Tran. Castro now trying to threaten some Loyola players, but passed back to the center field. A lot of aggressive play by Claudette, and he will be called for that aggressive play. And now Loyola gets another free opportunity right outside of the box.
A lot of communication on this Northwestern defense. I don't think Garner has stopped talking to his teammates the past minute. He's just been shouting the whole time, seeing everything from the back there.
Ramblers and Wildcats loading in on the far side of the box, right at the top of the key. Garner pacing back and forth inside of the goal. The ball is sent in, and a head is on it, but a nice save by Garner. Sends the ball right over the top of the crossbar. That is a huge save by the grad student.
That's his second one-handed save of the evening. Just the first time it was amazing to see, but the second time, wow, that was very remarkable. Nice save from Garner just to deflect it over the top. And now this first corner kick, he said there hadn't been any so far.
Now, Wildcats have to quickly regain composure. The ball sent in on the corner kick, headed around by both teams and cleared out by Castro, but no Wildcats are up at the midfield line, so Ramblers taking control of it. That's Silver sending it back to the center. Quick pass to Cisnero. McCamey challenging him. McCamey gets the ball, tries to touch it back inside, but deflected and intercepted by the Ramblers. Stevens sends it up to the midfield in the direction of Weiss on the near side. Weiss chasing the ball around. Weiss going back to the goalkeeper, but passed to the Ramblers defensive line. Now Gilson passes up into the near side. Ender back to Dueso. Dueso passes to the far side. Loyola just inching past the midfield, taking multiple dribbles up the far side. And just tapped out of bounds by a Wildcat, so Rambler throw-in.
Ramblers looking for another opportunity here. They've been having pretty consistent offensive momentum throughout this entire second half, even though the officials have stopped it a few times, but Gardner really has stopped anything they tried to put together.
A cross sent into the box by Loyola. Now kind of playing around at the top of the key, but cleared away by McCamey. Another close opportunity there for the Ramblers.
And Northwestern continues to clear out these really close plays by the Ramblers, but they just don't have anyone to turn it into offensive production, and the Ramblers are getting another shot, so no offense for the Cats.
Claudette shields a ball out, but it's another Rambler corner kick on the far side.
Rambler fans getting loud. You can hear they said we're in the final third of this game here. We want to see some scores.
Ramblers take a corner kick in the 63rd minute. Score is still tied at 0. The cross is sent in, flicked back by a Rambler, but over the goal, so now a Northwestern goal kick.
Northwestern defense, deserves a little bit of commending here. They just had 2 back-to-back corner kicks. Before that was a free kick from a little further out, so able to shut down multiple close opportunities for the Ramblers.
Prince receives the ball from Garner, tries to push it up past the midfield line, but no one's there. Thagard tries to threaten against Loyola forward, but now Loyola passing around on the far side. A lot of contact and another foul called on Northwestern.
I'm pretty sure the entire Loyola bench just threw their hands up in the air. I think every single guy threw his hands straight up in the air. They were all upset about that one, but no card is issued, but the ball to the Ramblers nonetheless.
Seen multiple yellow cards so far in this contest, and just a lot of fouls called in general. Both teams getting even more aggressive as the game goes on. Definitely not looking to end in a scoreless tie. The ball cleared away by Prince in the box, the diving header, but now Loyola still controlling it. Blair in the center sends it up to the front line, and Loyola called offsides. That's their first offsides call of the match. Northwestern had one earlier in the first half.
Although Northwestern didn't even really need that call, they were able to clear the ball well themselves, even with the offside Rambler.
Approaching the 65th minute of play here at Martin Stadium. Still 0-0 between Northwestern and Loyola, but Loyola out shooting Northwestern 7-3 so far in this contest, so a lot more opportunities than the Wildcats.
I think especially this half, the ball has barely entered across the line onto the Northwestern offensive half of the field. The ball has really just stayed within Loyola's possession for nearly this entire 20 minutes.
And now Loyola threatening, crosses inside the box, but just wide of the goal. Ball still in play on the far side. Couple dribbles in, and Bon Devente clears it out, passes to Castro, but it's taken away by Castro once again. Now Loyola crosses it into the box, but headed away by Stevens. Ball still up in the air. Lots of heads getting on it. Cleared by Stevens, and a shot over the goal. And yet another opportunity for Loyola, but just up and to the left of the goal.
A couple different times tonight, Loyola has had some shots like that just straight up over the crossbar without any chance. Got to be frustrating for those players after they, get close chance to make a shot and then just completely, not whiff, but, completely just miss the goal there. Don't even get it close to Gardner.
We've seen 9 shots so far by Loyola. 5 of those have been on goal. Gardner collecting 5 saves so far in the box for Northwestern. Loyola threatening once again on that far side, passing it around, takes a few dribbles and crosses inside, gets a head on it, still passes around in a shot, but just left of the goal. Gardner doesn't even get a hand on it, just watches it go by.
That could have been dangerous, Bria. That could have been pretty dangerous, but Northwestern got lucky with that one.
Gardner now taking the goal kick for Northwestern, trying to push his offense up the field. Northwestern really hasn't had the ball much past the midfield line so far in this half. It's pretty much been all Rambler offense in the second frame. Now a throw in on the far side for Northwestern. Excuse me, a foul was called on Loyola, so Northwestern will set up their offense. They'll do so by passing around on the back line. Once again, Dudley to Prince. Prince on the far side takes a touch, and up to Thagard, who tries to flick it to Weiss, but could not get it through. Now the ball to Sun in the center. Sun takes a few dribbles, passes to Weiss, but intercepted by Loyola. Prince takes a touch and passes to Von Devente. Out to McCamey on the near side. McCamey just past the midfield line. Passes it back to Dudley, who crosses that center line once again. Out to the far side to Prince. Prince takes a few touches. Then back to Dudley, who dishes it to Stevens. Stevens to Sun. One touch to McCamey. McCamey up to Sun once again. Sun on the near side, crosses it into Weiss. Weiss takes a touch. Lot going on in the box. Weiss spins around, but cannot get a shot off. And now Northwestern has a throw-in on the far side, but yet again, another missed opportunity for Weiss.
He's got to be shaking his head. He's got to be pretty frustrated with that one. It looked like he was going to have a chance to just spin around, but a lot of Ramblers met him really quickly. And while they didn't necessarily take it from him, they definitely stopped him from getting anywhere near the goal.
And that's kind of the risk that you take when you only have one forward up there. And it's kind of been only in Loyola's half, as you have the whole midfield push back, helping on defense, and you have Weiss kind of fending for himself up there. Now Garner on the far side, outside of the box, clears it up and out of bounds, will trot back inside to his territory.
And like you were saying, with just having Weiss up there, I mean, it's not necessarily unusual, or I don't think it's the entire reason why Northwestern's had so many offensive struggles so far this game. A lot of credit goes to Loyola for being able to keep it on their side. But I think it's tough because Northwestern's just pretty much been playing defense entirely for especially the second half, but for a lot of this game in general. And I think it's got to be tough to try to set up any sort of offensive momentum when they are working so hard on defense, and they clear it, but Weiss is the only one there to try to intercept, to try to get the clear. Hasn't happened so far, really.
Now Loyola on the far side tries to get into the box, but cleared away by Prince. But like you were saying, Margaret, a big part of the heavy attack from Loyola is that they're playing with 3 forwards in their formation compared to Northwestern's 1. So that might be part of why, Loyola has held possession more in this second half.
And even if it's not necessarily, I'm surprised that Northwestern didn't make any kind of halftime adjustments to help Weiss out a little bit.
Ball is cleared to the Loyola box, picked up by Gilson. That's kind of the formation that Northwestern played last year. They also relied on Weiss a lot as well, but you saw a lot more play between Castro in the midfield and Kimiavi also alongside Weiss, but it seems like they've kind of moved out more towards the wing. McCamey now on the near side, passes back to Stevens. Loyola controls it. That's Cisneros, challenged by McCamey. Can't get the touch. Now a little give and go action on the near side for Loyola. That's Gates sending it into the box, but cleared away by Northwestern. A quick opportunity there for the Ramblers, but Northwestern once again with that stealthy defense, nothing gets past them.
And just able to send it completely out of bounds. I think that was the right move there for the Cats because, I mean, they had more defenders than forwards for sure. They had the advantage, but that Rambler forward was going really fast. He had a guy in the middle, and so as soon as Northwestern had, a touch on the ball, definitely a good move to clear it out in any direction you can that's away from the goal and just to send it straight out of bounds and get a few more defenders, a little bit more help. That solid defense that you've had all evening to come help you out. I think that was a smart decision.
Play stopped in the 72nd minute because 2 players on both sides were kind of cramping up there, but now play resumes. Throw in for the Ramblers. Cisneros will take it. He's signaling to his team to load up in the box. Expect a very long throw. Cisneros with the throw into the center of the box. Flicked by his teammate outside of it. Now Silver on the back line controlling it. Passes it back and around. Blair now in the center takes a touch. Passes back to Silver. Silver taking a few dribbles on the far side, dishes it to his midfielder. Now Loyola switching fields once again and back on the other side of the midfield line. Ender makes a few moves, passes it to Hensey. Now Weiss with the ball, challenged by two defenders. Takes one too many touches and gets the ball taken away from him right by the midfield. Now ball sent in right at the top of the box. And a foul called on Northwestern right at the top of the key. So it's going to be a very big opportunity for Loyola.
That is not where Northwestern wants to have a foul and have Loyola set up right there. That's a closer kick than a free kick than they've had all evening for sure. The Ramblers have, and they've had several that Northwestern's been able to fend off. But Loyola with a lot of momentum here, clock's inching closer and closer toward that 90-minute mark. So, this is going to be a big opportunity for the Ramblers. Could be game changing for sure. They've just had so much time on offense, and now this is a very clear, very close shot. Northwestern doing all they can to stop it, but I think in the end it's just going to come down to whether Gardner can make another fantastic save after he's made 2 tonight.
A 5-man wall is built by Northwestern right in the center of the box. Expect a shot right on goal by Loyola, and then any deflections, it's anyone's fair game. The kick is taken, and off of that wall, another shot and deflected by Northwestern. Everyone will reset as Silver sends it back into the box, trying to apply more pressure onto that Northwestern defense. So many bodies around in that area from being loaded inside of the box. Now the ball out to Becerro on the near side, challenged by McCamey. Takes a touch inside. Now Sun challenging Cisneros. Cisneros double teamed by Northwestern. McCamey comes out with it. And now McCamey gets the ball right back on the near side. Passes to Sun. Sun to McCamey, back to Stevens. Now Northwestern setting up on their back line. Prince on the far side takes a touch. Passes right to a Rambler, but right back to Northwestern. Dudley now in the center, passes to Prince. Weiss now in the midfield. Takes a touch and tries to send it to Thaggart. Foul called on Loyola right past the midfield line on the far side.
Yeah, a little bit of a push there. Northwestern's player just fell straight down on his face. Definitely some contact from Loyola that earned that ball.
0-0 tie in the 76th minute. Sun on the near side crosses it into the box and right out of it to the far side. Weiss tries to get a touch, but it's cleared out before he can. Ball still in play to Prince, who's playing right above midfield. Passes it back to Stevens on the near side. Stevens with a long cross in the direction of Kimiabi. And now the Ramblers threatening on the far side, but taken away by Prince. Prince takes a touch. Challenged by two Ramblers. One gets away with it. And now a one-on-one opportunity for the Ramblers right inside of the box. Sent in and tapped around by a couple of Northwestern players, but they're unable to clear it. Loyola gets a head on it. Cisneros tries to take a touch, but Tran is able to clear it out. Ball still in play. Ender will take a touch to keep it there. Sends it to Mitchell in the center, who passes it to the far side. Blair in the center kind of tripped up there for a second. Looked like he was about to lose possession, but maintains it and passes it to his teammates on the near side. Try to do a little give and go there. That was Hensey working with Cisneros, but the feed was just a little bit too heavy for Cisneros to get.
You can tell the nerves are rising a little bit here, getting toward the end of this game. Still scoreless. Both teams are itching to do something, especially the Ramblers. Got to be very frustrated after how, not necessarily how many opportunities they've had to score that haven't gone in, but also just for how much time they've had possession of the ball to not be able to convert yet. They've got to be pretty frustrated and looking to score here in the final minutes of this game.
Brandon Claudette and number 11, Eric Smith.
Northwestern coming in with substitutions. That's Eric Smith in the midfield, and Brandon Claudette comes back into play. Weiss now on the near side, takes a few touches, spins around a defender, tries to do it again. McCamey gets in on the action, and now Loyola has possession. That's Blair in the center. Prince now going one-on-one with a Loyola forward. Taps it outside, and now a Rambler throw-in. Ball is sent into the corner. Double team by Northwestern. A couple dribbles by Loyola on the far side, but still staying on that far side. Passes it back to the defensive line, who sends it back into the box. Stephen heads it out, followed by Claudette heading it again in the direction of Weiss in the center. Now Cisneros on the right side with the ball, passes it back to Ender. Northwestern now maintains possession. Kimiabi pushing forward in the center, is tripped up, but play resumes. Gilson passes out to its defender on the far side.
Really Northwestern's best look so far. They didn't really get too close to the goal, but they had numbers and they had speed, but weren't able to convert it there after that. It wasn't a very physical trip. It didn't really result in any sort of card or stoppage of play, but the Ramblers just got the ball out from under him.
Now a ball sent to the far side right at the edge of the box, but deflected by Northwestern and now sent back into the box, headed out by Stevens, but right to the foot of Cisneros. Cisneros does a little move and sends it right back in, headed by Dudley, very close to the goal, but out of play now on the far side.
Good work there by Dudley to just redirect the ball. It wasn't about to go in necessarily, but it definitely could have been touched by one of the Ramblers. So good work there from him to just get it out of goal territory and make the Ramblers set it up again.
Both teams playing with a little bit more urgency now. Less than 10 minutes remaining in this contest, still scoreless. And now a look inside of the box, tapped away by Prince and into the hands of Garner.
Ball was high up in the air, but no doubt that Garner was about to get it. But Ramblers again with another missed opportunity to get the ball into the net.
Garner with the drop kick up to Kimiabi and Weiss. Neither can get a foot on it. Now Smith's trying to get possession. Claudette skies it up towards Weiss. And now Northwestern with an opportunity. Weiss crosses it inside, but headed away by Loyola. Tran on the far side, trying to challenge a Rambler, but deflected off of him. He looks Looks like Claudette's on the ground, but
Rambler
gets right back up.
substitution. Number 3, Michael Pong. Wildcat substitutions. Number 10, Vicente Castro. And number 19,
If you're Northwestern, I think what you got to
Son.
focus on for the next little bit here is trying to get possession and maintain possession. They've done a really good job of stopping Loyola throughout this entire game, but I think they've had a lot of trouble just holding on to the ball when they have it. I think that's what you've got to focus on for the last 7 minutes.
Tran sends it up to Weiss. Sun in the center, really trying to battle for that ball, and a foul is called against him. So Northwestern will have a free kick.
This might be the opportunity Northwestern is needed. I mean, they haven't really had very many chances to have the ball uncontested on this side of the half line. So I think this might be big for Northwestern. Could be a game changer, really.
Northwestern is pushing up all of their defense past the midfield. A lot of cats loaded in the box right now. Loyola going with a 3-man wall. Castro sends it inside, but headed away by Loyola. Von Devente in the corner. Takes a touch and taps it just in front of him, but taken away by, that was Nigel Prince. Now Stevens gets the ball, now given to Claudette. Claudette to Dudley. 5.5 minutes left in regulation. Still a 0-0 stalemate between Loyola and Northwestern. Northwestern pushing up all of their players. And now Loyola countering. Inside the box, taps it across, but cleared away by Northwestern's defense. Now Sun battling for the ball. Blair at the top of the box with a shot, but headed away by Dudley. He's a captain of the back line for a reason. Now ball up to Weiss on the near side, tripped up but comes right back up to his feet, taps it to Castro, who's just towing the line, keeps it in play, and passed inside to Sun, but tapped away and out of bounds by Loyola.
Both teams feeling the pressure, and both teams with a lot of momentum going either direction. But again, Northwestern's defense cannot be underscored just how fantastic they were playing. I mean, Garner was ready in case there was any need, but they didn't even need to get the ball into him as a player receiving attention on the other side. As soon as the official walks over, he seems to be fine, though. Just needed that nod from the ref.
The clock has stopped at 85 minutes and 28 seconds. Northwestern will have a corner kick with just 4.5 minutes left. A huge opportunity.
Got some phones out in the stands. People are recording.
Wildcats corner kick coming up. Number 10,
Likely going to be Northwestern's best opportunity for the rest of the evening.
Castro takes a kick, sends it inside, up in the air, but headed right over the goal by Stevens. Just narrowly gets it up over the corner. So now Gilson with the ball will take the goal kick.
Put his head in his hands there a little bit, shaking his head a little bit. Knew that was a big moment. He had good contact on it, just popped a little too high up and not enough forward.
Gilson sends the goal kick past the midfield line. Both teams trying to get ahead on it and maintain possession, but the Wildcats seem to come away with it, but then Loyola gets it right back on that far side. Tran and Claudette for the Wildcats trying to apply pressure. Now Loyola on the far side countering. The ball is crossing the center, but first the ball just crossed that goal line. So Garner will take a goal kick in the 86th minute. Another substitution for the Wildcats. That's Tran going out. And Von Devente coming in for him.
Wildcat substitution. Number 26, Javen Van Deventer.
The foul called on Northwestern off of that goal kick. So now a free kick for Loyola just below the midfield line. Quick pass on the defensive line, and now a lot of quick passes by the Ramblers on that far side. Taking a couple dribbles and switching fields to Cisneros. Cisneros with a quick pass to his teammate, guarded by Stevens. Cisneros now into the box at the top of it on the far side. The ball just gets away from him off of a Wildcat, so Gates takes the throw.
Northwestern threw him off a little bit, but that was really just kind of a missed pass there by Cisneros as he tries to hype his teammates up, get them ready to do something here in the final two.
Exactly 2 minutes remaining in this contest. The Ramblers are threatening, though, right at the top of the box with a shot and off the crossbar. Garner with a save that just completely saved the game with 2 minutes left. Garner has been a wall back there tonight in goal.
Oh, absolutely, Bria. That was insane. Again, deflected off of his hand to hit the crossbar. If he had not gotten his glove in the way, likely would have gone directly in the goal, and nearly end of game winning goal for Loyola, but it remains scoreless here.
A minute 15 remaining in regulation. Gilson with a very heavy touch will clear it out the far side, tries to get it up to his
1 minute.
forwards. Ball getting headed around on the far side. Loyola finally takes possession, but intercepted by McKamey. Takes a touch inside. Now Northwestern getting past the midfield line, sends it up to Weiss, but it's intercepted by the Ramblers. Ball goes out, and it'll be a Rambler throw.
Northwestern thought it was theirs. The bench and the player that was going to throw it in were both really upset.
Less than 30 seconds remaining in regulation. Ramblers pushing up on the far side. A quick throw into play. And a cross inside the box, but cleared away by Stevens. 10 seconds
9,
remaining.
8, 7,
Ball goes
6,
outside.
4, 3, 2,
And Northwestern
0.
maintains the tie. It's a 0-0 finish between Northwestern and Loyola. And it looks like
This game
there's a
A little tussle.
little tussle on the field after
Both
the whistle
benches
blows.
cleared. There's a Northwestern player on the ground, and then it looks like two players are chirping at each other, and a big crowd following them. But some coaching staff or some of the officials are trying to push the players back to their own sideline. Some players are listening, some are not. But tough way for it to end after an already scoreless match.
A lot of tensions on the field now, but I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kind of symbolic of how the game finished. In that second half, both teams were so much more aggressive. A lot of fouls were called. 3 yellow cards were also awarded in this contest. So a lot of kind of chippy play as both teams maybe got a little bit more frustrated. We're trying to become more aggressive with that 0-0 tie throughout the whole game. But Margaret, let's just talk a little bit about the game overall. Northwestern, even though they came away with the tie, still not getting that first win of the season, it almost kind of feels a little bit like a win coming off of that Garner save in the box. I mean,
That's
this
true.
game could have ended so differently and in
Right.
heartbreak fashion, but Garner just punches it up and into the crossbar.
Absolutely. I think you're talking about how aggressive this was. If you just look at Northwestern's stat line, 13 fouls, 5 shots. You know, Northwestern really didn't have a whole lot of offensive opportunities, and I think my MVP of this game, if you're allowed to have an MVP of a scoreless tie, has to be Gardner, obviously. I mean, but not even just Gardner's play. I was really impressed with the entire Northwestern defense. I think what Northwestern needs to work on going forward is having someone there when that defense clears it out. The defense is working so hard, is exhausted, finally gets the ball out, and then it's going straight back to the Ramblers to set it up again. I think they just have to work on turning defense into offense and not just defense into more defense. But again, Northwestern, all credit for this game should go to the defense. And Gardner played a really fantastic game. Loyola offense had a great job. And that's not to discredit Northwestern's offense. They had a couple of great opportunities as well. But I think going forward, to get those wins, they're going to have to spend a lot more time on that side of the field.
Definitely, Margaret. I think that Coach Russell Payne might kind of rework maybe the formation a little bit. Maybe not that drastic, but try to get more players involved on offense other than just Weiss up top. But again, just great play overall by the defense. They had to face 15 shots by Loyola in this contest. And, you know, their offense wasn't really doing the same on the other side, just 5 shots. And so it was kind of uneven in that regard, but finishing out with that 0-0 tie still feels a little bit more of a momentum swing for Northwestern. They're coming off of a loss before this to Florida Gulf Coast. So not quite getting back in the win column, but move forward with a tie. They will next face Villanova at Villanova. That will be at noon Central on Monday, September 5th. They'll come back home to Martin Stadium against Western Michigan next Friday. And that's when WNUR Sports will have the call at 7 p.m. Central. But I'm Bria Losick with Margaret Fleming. This has been a great call on a Friday night. WNUR Sports' first soccer game of the season. It's great to be back out here at Martin Stadium, but looking forward to a lot more calls this season. Thank you so much for staying with us and listening. Northwestern and Loyola finished with the 0-0 tie. This is WNUR Sports and Big Ten Plus. And he's in
hard, but some here.
And Northwestern maintains the tie. It's a 0-0 finish between Northwestern and Loyola. And it looks like the tie outside.
4, 3, 2,
and Northwestern
0.
maintains the tie. It's a 0-0 finish between Northwestern and Loyola. And it looks like there's it's outside.
4, 3, 2,
and Northwestern
0.
maintains the tie. It's a 0-0 finish between Northwestern and Loyola. And it looks like there's
a little tussle.
A little tussle on the field after
Both
the whistle
benches
blows.
cleared. There's a Northwestern player on the ground, and then it looks like 2 players are chirping at each other, and a big crowd following them. But some coaching staff or some of the officials are trying to push the players back to their own sideline. Some players are listening, some are not. But tough way for it to end after